So I switched to the OnePlus 6. Been using it for a while.
In 500 meters, turn left towards National Highway 48.
And I know there are many impressions and reviews on the web, but I really can't resist to share my story. So this video is a compilation of a bunch of opinions formed over a bunch of days after some real world experiences, if you will. Not a review, that's coming up shortly, but till then, enjoy. So a couple of things straight up, the phone is huge and it actually feels really tall in dark. But the notch is not a problem. If you saw my iPhone 10 coverage, you would know it was never a problem for me. And in this one, it's even more tiny. Also, this is the first phone with a different 18:9 or 19:9 aspect ratio that didn't have any issues with app compatibility because the software handles it all. So by default, the apps were spread across the entire screen, and also the notch did not interfere with any of the content consumption. The software hides it by surrounding it with a black bar at the top, although you can disable that functionality. So I guess it's cool for all. The only place where I found it to be a bit out of place was when I took a long screenshot. It felt as if the screenshot itself had an indentation, but that's actually not the case. It's the actual hardware notch obstructing your view. The speaker placement and the sound quality are one of the worst that I've seen in a long while. It's super easy to block, and sometimes it sounds like an old radio set when at high volumes. The fingerprint sensor is also very tiny, and it sucks because I always touch the flash first. But as you can see, I got the mirror black version because getting that makes more sense since the midnight black only ships with the higher price tag, which is great marketing strategy. But mirror black, thankfully, is really sexy. I mean, apart from, of course, the insane reflections and fingerprints, it's just very black. You might have a hard time differentiating the buttons from the body surface if you were just looking, and I say that because the buttons are super tactile. But one thing that I had expected, but not at this magnitude, was the slipperiness. I mean, I expected it to be slippery because it's glass, but not as much as it is. And because it's so slippery, it's incredibly hard for this one to not slide when kept against something. So even if you don't want to, you would have to use a case, and they do provide one in the box, which is a pretty nice one considering the fact that it ships with the phone itself, but I would not really count on it for once and for all protection. For that, I would go to Rhino Shield's website and get their cases for the OnePlus 6. They're not out yet, but you can actually sign up to be notified when they're up for pre-ordering. This time they're not just coming with a bumper case, but also a solid suitcase, which will protect the rear surface of the phone also. And I've used their cases. I used them on the iPhone 7 and the OnePlus 3T. I've spoken of them before, and they do provide that once and for all protection. So the sign up page is linked below. Feel free, because it's kind of a necessity with the OnePlus 6. But then I went to the Vivo event.
Base Station E.
It was low light, and I think the phone performed fairly well considering the fact that the image did not have a lot of grain and was shot with 2x digital zoom. But one other thing that I noticed with the camera, nothing odd or anything like that, was that the app lets you change the aspect ratio you're shooting in all the way to 19:9, which makes the entire screen a viewfinder. And that is not just beautiful, but also fairly wide, which is cinematic to an extent. I also happened to shoot some video from a pretty bumpy auto rickshaw ride, and it's not got any optical stabilization, just the electronic one like the 5 and the 5T, but I think it held up pretty well. We'll get more in depth in the full review. Till then, let me know what you think. But hands down, the thing that I did more than anything in my time with the OnePlus 6 was gaming. Couple of hours of gaming every single day, and no heating up, let alone overheating, and just a very smooth experience with high graphics settings. Although there are some issues in the software, like for some reason double tap to wake up does not work a lot of times. The on-screen buttons automatically keep hiding even though I have the reverse setting toggled on, and for some reason the ringtone volume is just frustratingly low. Although it has dash charge, which is hands down the best feature in not just OnePlus devices, but of all the smartphones after AirDrop obviously. Oh, and great screen on time too, of about 6 hours on an average, which is pretty cool. So the OnePlus 6 has been pretty spectacular till now. It's one hell of a boring phone, but there is so much stuff yet to be covered. So I would say stick around for the full review, cause that might just be the best video I've ever done. Just saying.